What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Unscripted Live here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network, as well as on our good friends at Northeast Streaming Sports on their Roku channel. As always, I'm going to be your host and producer this evening, Logan Landers, and join me to talk about some NFL Week 8 game predictions. As always, Jay McLove. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, it is going well, sir. It is going well, and I do want to do a mad shout-out. Before we get into NFL, off topic real quick, I just want to say shout-out to the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, who will start Game 1 tonight. Because of Garcia's disrespectful spike of the bat and all the crazy that he pulled with Houston, unfortunately, I will be pulling for D-backs. Oz, I know that probably makes you mad, but go D-backs.
All right. Well, and also, Jay, that leads me into another thing. If you want to hear more and see more about the World Series, which Game 1 is later on tonight, 8 o'clock, our guy Frankie the Yankee will be reprising his role to talk about what happened in the ALCS as well as the NLCS and give a little bit of a preview for the World Series and how he thinks it's going to shake out. He said that's going to be coming out around 3 o'clock, give or take. So that is expected to come out at some point today on our channel. So go over there and give our boy Frankie some love as always if you want to talk some baseball with him in just a little while. Well, Jay, let's get right into it. 5 games as always for our slate here. Up first, we got your Cowboys going up against the Los Angeles Rams. Tell me how you think this one's going to go, my friend.
Yeah, geez Louise, man. I think it's a battle of who can throw the least amount of turnovers, honestly, in this game. Neither one of these quarterbacks, Logan, you know this, man. Stafford's he hasn't exactly had the best of seasons, and neither has Dak Prescott at this point. As a matter of fact, I think Dak actually looks pretty good compared to Stafford if you really want to get down to brass tacks. The stats for Stafford are pretty much 1,900 yards, 7 touchdowns, but 6 interceptions, and that's big, Logan. That's big. And Dak ain't much better. Let me tell you, 13, 33, 6 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So it's not like, either one of these quarterbacks are quote-unquote star-studded and their stat lines going up to this point. I will tell you this. When you look at the running game, Williams is at 97 at 456 to Pollard's 96 at 370 and 2 touchdowns. So really even Williams himself has a slight competitive edge over Pollard. But when you look at these teams as a whole, Dallas is on a 10-game home winning streak right now. I don't know how that's possible, but it seems so weird. But when you look at the home games, Dallas has done okay. Not so much on the road, but they are on a 10-game home win streak. 5 of the next 7, Logan, are at home for Dallas. So Dallas could theoretically make a good push, I think, for a wild card, not necessarily for the division. I still think that 100% belongs to the Eagles. But at this point for the Cowboys, if we just get a wild card, I think we're doing pretty damn good. So 5 of the 7 are at home. And I don't know. How do you control turnovers, Logan? I think at the end of the day, this win between the Rams and the Cowboys is going to be who has the least amount of turnovers. Bland, Gilmore in that secondary, Atwell, and Nakua. Can they keep those 2 young studs for the Rams at bay? Trayvon Diggs, as you know, is out. Bland is still a pretty damn good cornerback, but Gilmore is a little suspect because he's a little older, Logan. And I think if I'm Stafford, I'm probably going to target more Gilmore and that side of the field than I am going to be targeting on the side of Bland. So for me, this comes down to, number 1, can Micah Parsons and Lawrence and that defense in the front 7 get enough pressure on Stafford to force him into those turnovers that he's so enamored with? And can the Cowboys get their run game going against that defense? And I think those are the true keys. But at the end of the day, man, I'm going to go Cowboys because it is at home, and I'm not going against that 10-game win streak. And I'm going to give the Cowboys, not because I'm biased, but I'm just playing the odds of it all. And I'm going to go with the Cowboys getting a close win at, I'm going to say 35-21. 35-21.
All right, and popping in to join the fun here at the bottom, you see of the screen, Foxborough, Frankie C. How you doing, my friend? How you doing on this Friday evening?
I'm doing good. It's beautiful here in New York. We're in the mid 70s. I'm doing really good.
Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds good. I think it's about 65 or so here in Georgia. It feels nice, though. All right. Well, Frankie, we know you have your baseball preview show for the World Series coming up here in just a little bit, but we're glad to have you on talking some NFL football. So give your thoughts, give your analysis on who's going to win this game with the Rams and Cowboys.
I like this matchup really well. I feel like these two teams match up pretty much evenly. The Rams coming off of a good win last week, but let's be real, they didn't face a defense like the defense that the Dallas Cowboys have. I like what Jay said on both teams offensively. To me, at the end of the day, this game is gonna come down to defense and who has the better defense. And in my theory, I think the Dallas Cowboys have the better defense in this game. And I've been saying it literally since week one that the Dallas Cowboys have a really dangerous defense. And yes, they're banged up. They don't have their starting cornerback or anything like that, but they still got Micah Parsons. Man, Parsons he's a dog. He's an animal. And when you have Micah Parsons in there, it's kind of it evens out with the Rams and having Aaron Donald, right? So I mean, it equals out on both ends. But I feel like the Dallas Cowboys just have more stud players on defense than the Rams do, and I think that defense can get to Stafford and make him uncomfortable and have a good game. So I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys in this game.
Yeah, my quick thoughts on this one. You mentioned the defense for both these teams. For me, it's can the Cowboys offense keep doing some good work? Actually, Jay, did you know the Rams offense a little bit better this year? Got you by about 40 or so yards. That's, thanks in part to those two tremendous receivers you mentioned there with Puka Nacua as well as Cooper Kupp. Like I said, Matt Stafford, he's getting older. It is what it is. That's just how it works. But the Rams have honestly been kind of a surprise for me. I know they are 3-4, but still I didn't think they'd be at a competitive level at this time with as much as they've lost in the past year or so. But they're holding their head above water just about. But I think that the Cowboys just got a little bit more offense. Like you said, they have won 10 straight home games as well. So they've got that momentum on their side. So I'll go with the Cowboys getting win this one 32-17. We do get some comments here real quick. Rob Scott chiming in saying the secondary might be a problem now that Kupp is back. That's a very good point, Rob. He also said, what's up, brothers? Glad to see you chime in. Our boy, Rob Scott. All right, guys, on to the next game, Steelers and Jaguars. Jay, I'll let you take this one, my friend. Who is taking this win here? Is it going to be the Steelers or is it going to be the Jaguars?
Yeah, it really depends on what version of the Steelers and what version of Kenny Pickett that we get versus this Jaguars team. 4-2 against 5-2, respectively. Pickett, he's another one, just like Stafford, man. When he has a good day, he has a good day. When he has a bad day, he's a bad day. The guy's got 5 touchdowns and 4 picks. So for Kenny Pickett, this season has got to be a growing season for him to stop throwing all those picks. If he can control throwing the picks, I think that he'll have a good game. Obviously Harris and Pickens, those are his top two assets on the offense. Harris is not doing as good though, Logan. He's only averaging 3.8 yards per carry, and this guy's on my fantasy team, and he's just not getting a lot of yards per carry. So I really need Najee Harris to figure it out. And it really kind of comes down even to a little bit of the offensive line of the Steelers. I think the offensive line of the Steelers is still kind of an Achilles heel for them. I'd like to see the Steelers over the offseason, if not even before the trade deadline, see if they can get some more offensive tackles or something to put on that front offensive line, not only to help the run game out, but to help Pickens out, because I think a lot of his interceptions come simply for him being on the run and having to improvise. Jaguars, hey, look, these guys are on a 4-game win streak, man. So they're playing hot right now. We look at the Jags overall, they're 351 to 293 a Pitt. And when they're looking on defense, it's 364 to 402 a Pitt. So right now, Pittsburgh is not getting enough yardage, and they're giving way too much up on defense. So at some point in time, TJ Watt's got to start, and Joey Porter Jr., I'm not sure, I think Joey Porter should be playing, but TJ Watt's got to start getting pressure on the Lawrence if they want to have a shot in this game. Now, I want to point out one thing. Calvin really has not done as much as what I thought he would do for this team. He's only 27 catches for 368 and 2 touchdowns. So clearly Lawrence does not have chemistry with Ridley as much as he does with Kirk and Zay Flowers and so forth. So maybe even ETN at that point. So at some point, Lawrence has to start getting Calvin really more involved in this team if they want to go long term. But I think the Steelers can sneak up in there, and if T.J. Watt gets some pressure on Lawrence, I mean, I think this could go the other way. But I still think it's going to be Jags riding the hot hand, especially as this is in Jacksonville. So I'm going to give them the slight narrow win at 21-14 over the Steelers.
All right, Frankie, before I kick it to you, Rob Scott's coming in saying if Trevor Lawrence stays under 40 passing attempts and they continue that balanced attack with ETN, Jacksonville will get the win. Do you think that that's going to happen, Frankie, or are you going to flip the script and give it to the Steelers?
I like what the Jaguars has been doing lately. Ever since the London game where they lost their first London game to the Falcons, I believe it was. They turned their season around. They opened their eyes and they decided to go on a wing streak, and that all started off by beating the hot Buffalo Bills at the time. So I like the Jaguars. And I like what Rob Scott said is true. It is honestly true. If the Jaguars can keep Trevor Lawrence under 40 passing attempts and, continue doing what he's doing with ETN, I feel like, it's going to be a one-sided matchup. I like the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense stepped up really well last week. They honestly did. And I understand what Jay's saying. Yeah, they had a really troubled time this year on the defense, but last week their defense, they turned up, they showed up, and they got an important win that they needed to get last week. This is two teams that we really don't really talk about anymore ever since Big Ben left Pittsburgh and Jacksonville is just Jacksonville, right? I mean, we never talk about Jacksonville, but now they're hot, and now we're talking about them. And I like what Jay said about the Calvin Ridley. He does need to get more involved. I didn't expect him to be as low as he is right now, but I did expect him to be a distraction to the opposing defenders, and give open opportunities to other people such as Zay Flowers and Christian Kirk, which is why these two are having high numbers this year in catches and in yards and touchdowns, is because you look on the field and you see Calvin Ridley there, and if you don't double team him or if you don't play tight defense on him, he will do you so. He will give you some damage, and he will give you some yards. So I know he's there as a distraction, but Jay's right. The chemistry between Lawrence and Ridley is not there. I feel like they did a little bit more time. Lawrence has played with Christian Kirk last year. He's played with Zay Flowers last year. They had the chemistry together, which is why they're getting the most yards and stuff. Ridley's just coming back from his gambling suspension or whatever he did, his suspension for like 2 years or whatever like that. And, coming back and thinking you're going to be all hot like you was in Atlanta, it's not the same, man. You're in a new team with a new quarterback. You got to learn that chemistry again. So I give it a little bit more time between these two. We're only 7 weeks. We're going into the week 7. So we're 7 weeks into the season. You got to start building that chemistry now, because if you don't build it now, it's not going to be built by the end of the season.
All right. And what's your final score on that one, if you got one? If not, then just who's going to win.
I got the Jaguars winning this one. Final score, I'm going to say I'm going to go crazy here, but I'm going to say Jaguars gets at least 30 points, and the Steelers probably get at least 21.
Okay. All right. So for me, let's not forget Trevor Lawrence coming into this one a little bit banged up. Got a little bit of I believe it was a left knee injury in their last game, but I don't think that'll be too much of an issue for them. As for the Steelers, they've kind of, they've been getting by on kind of the skin of their teeth. Haven't really had a big dominant win. I mean, they've won back-to-back games, but they've only won those by 7 points each. And we know the offense can struggle at times. In 2 games this year, they've put up less than 10 points in 2 games. So it's kind of hit or miss. And I think that as a team, just the cohesion, the way that we're seeing ETN and Lawrence gel, I think they're going to continue that hot hand they've got right now. So give me the Jacksonville Jaguars getting the win in this one. I'll go Jacksonville 27, and I'll go Pittsburgh 14 in this matchup. What's up? Go ahead.
I do want to say one thing. I did want to leave one thing out. I feel like Doug Peterson has really done a good job, honestly, with this Jacksonville ball club and really turning them around from what he first inherited from Urban Myers. I really think, it's going to take a little bit of step by step with this ball club. But if you notice, every year, this ball club is getting better and better. And Trevor Lawrence has really started, from when he first came into the league, it's only his second or third year. I think this is like his third year in the league right now.
So, yeah.
Am I right? Am I right on 3 years?
Yeah, it's just 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really 2.5. It's not even a full 3. So we're like 2.5, seasons under his belt, and he's looking pretty good. So I got to tip my hat off to Doug Peters for righting the ship, getting Trevor Lawrence back on track, and making his team competitive. It takes a certain kind of coach to take what he inherited and then putting it where it's at now. So if you don't see that Doug Peterson was the right coach for this team, then you're not watching football.
That's true.
Well said,
really look at it, Jay. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl, the only Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he won it with 2 quarterbacks that are not even being mentioned, talked about, or even looked at in the league anymore, Nick Foles or Carson Wentz. So I mean,
that's right.
Well said, my friend. Well said. All right, moving on to the next game here. You see on your screen, we've got the 4-2 Seattle Seahawks going up against the 4-2 Cleveland Browns. Frank, I'll let you start things off with this one. Who's taking home the win in this one?
So me and my wife, we do these yearly picks where we go up against each other and stuff like that. And this one, I looked at it, and it's like I had to skip it for a minute and come back to it and really think about it, because these are two teams. Geno Smith looking really good with the Seattle Seahawks since last year, still doing that this year. Their defense, mind you, they just signed Frank Clark. The defense of the Seattle Seahawks, they've got Frank Clark now on that team. So, I mean, that defense is like a little bit scarier now, adding Frank Clark. But the Cleveland Browns got Myles Garrett, and that dude is a monster this year. For some reason, he's a monster every year, but I feel like for some reason this year he turned up to a different level. And I would pick the Cleveland Browns. The one reason I'm not going to pick the Cleveland Browns is because Deshaun Watson isn't playing. And I understand, Deshaun Watson isn't having a good year that everybody, want him to have and, expect him to play like he was in Houston. But still, having that backup quarterback and PJ Walker come in, I don't feel confident in him against the Seattle Seahawks defense, especially going up against Pete Carroll's, defensive mind on that sideline, coaching this defense as well. I'm gonna have to go with the Seahawks on this one. Normally, I would, if Deshaun Watson was playing, I would have said the Cleveland Browns. Trust me, Cleveland fans, don't get mad at me. I would have definitely picked your guys to win if Deshaun Watson was playing. I just don't have full faith in that backup PJ Walker. I'm sorry.
All right, and Jane, real quick before we get to you, Rob's coming in saying, this is tough because the Browns' defense is legit. Seattle has played well, but Myles Garrett is a monster, so he's going with Cleveland. He also says not to mention them grabbing Kareem Hunt was clutch with the loss of Nick Chubb. So, Jane, what's your thoughts on this matchup here between these two teams with very similar records?
Yeah, honestly, I see it a little bit different than the way Frankie sees it for the Browns. And I say that because if this was the Deshaun Watson from the Houston days, yeah, okay. But this isn't the Deshaun Watson from the Houston days. This is some alternate, weird version of Deshaun Watson that I quite honestly don't recognize at this point anymore. To the point where, I don't know, he's just kind of hit or miss, and now he's missing games, the shoulder injury, whatever. I just think Deshaun Watson is just on a – I'm not saying he's not going to get back to where he was, but he's on a rough trajectory right now. Number one, he's coming off of a bad PR stunt out there in Houston and all that went on. He's still trying to find his way and what's going on over here. And it's sometimes when you have too much going on in your life, it keeps you from focusing on what you need to do and how you need to do it. And for that reason, PJ Walker said, you know what, hey, coach, it's all good. Let him sit on the sideline. It's all good. I got you. To the point where he got 39 points last week. That ain't easy, folks. It ain't easy, but he did. He put up 39 points and got them the dub last week. And let's be honest, Geno ain't playing that great right now either. What's Geno got? Throw it. Just under 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, but he's only got 4 picks. So it's not like Geno's out there balling out. Ford is doubtful, which means he's not going to play, which means Kareem Hunt's going to get the rock most likely. You're looking at 343, 348, 264 yards allowed, 346 allowed for the Browns. So I will say the Seahawks had a better D, but I still think don't discount what they're doing over there in Cleveland and this Cleveland team, man. I think P.J. Walker said, hey, coach, I might not be Deshaun and I might not be, the next, Lamar Jackson, but I can still take this team and do something with it. Don't discount me yet. So because I like that mode and I like what he's doing, I'm going to rock with the Browns. I'm going to rock with the Browns and say they're going to take out this Cleveland, the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, wow.
I think it'll be a close game, though. So I'm going to go 28. I'm going to go 28-14. Browns.
All right.
Who did the Browns play last week?
Let me find it here. Give me a second.
I believe it was it Pittsburgh?
They played.
I might be wrong on that.
No,
though.
they played the Colts.
The Colts. Thank you. Okay.
Oh no. Okay. Never mind. You answered my question. I didn't even have to ask it. No wonder PJ Walker got over 30 points in fantasy. He played a weak defense in the Colts, Jake.
Hey.
All right. So my thoughts on this one. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Can PJ Walker continue his success from last week against the Seahawks? And we'll see what happens with that, with Deshaun not going to be playing. With Kareem Hunt, I get he kind of just came back, but is he really, 100% all good to go? Or is he still trying to get his legs back under him? We'll see. But I think overall I'm going to go with I'll go with the Seahawks getting win this one. I'll go Seattle 31, and I'll go Cleveland 28. Close ball game the way I have it. All right, Bengals 49ers, Frankie C. Who you got winning this one?
I'm going to go with the 49ers in this one. A team that's, started off the season 5-0. They lost back-to-back games. And Brock Purdy's now being looked at around the world as, is he truly mystery relevant? Or was it all just hype? Or what's going on with him? There's nothing going on with Brock Purdy, honestly. I feel like the first loss, because it came down to that rookie kicker missing the field goal at the last second. And last week, I just don't know what happened last week against the Vikings. I don't know. They didn't show up. I don't know if it was the missing member of Deebo Samuel or what, but I don't know what's going on. I know for a fact, though, that the 49ers got in that locker room and said, listen, we got to change this around. We're better than what we expect. And the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow is not 100%. He doesn't have T. Higgins. I don't have confidence in the Bengals winning this game against the 49ers. I feel like the 49ers are going to come out angry. They're going to come out tough, and they're going to come out on fire against the Bengals, especially being at home.
That's true. All right. Jay, who you got winning this one, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. Deebo also is not playing in this game. He's been ruled out as well. And had Higgins not been ruled out, or if Higgins was playing, I probably would lean towards the Bengals at this point. Just because of Deebo brings a lot to that team that makes that 49ers team run. I'm not trying to take it away from Ayuk or what McCaffrey brings, because they also bring unique talents. But Deebo is just that kind of guy that he can run past. I mean, the guy's just everything. But with that being said, though, like Frankie mentioned, Burrow's not playing well either. And I don't know if there's calf issues or head issues, or maybe he doesn't have his favorite cigar. I don't know. But the guy's under 1,300, 7 touch, and 4 damn interceptions. And Purdy's rocking 11 touchdowns to 3 picks. McCaffrey's still McCaffrey, man. The guy is just a nutbag running the ball. He's averaging 4.7 yards a carry, and he's getting balls out of the backfield. I mean, the guy's everywhere. So when you got a guy that can catch out of the backfield, a guy that can run the ball, and then you got a guy like Ayuk, and then you got Kittle, and as long as Purdy is healthy, Purdy's Purdy, and he is Purdy. To the point where I think the 49ers get the win. Honestly, I think they're just too much for the Bengals to handle at this point, especially with the crippled Burrow and no Higgins. So I think this is going to be a lot larger league. I think I'm going to say 28-13, favor of the 49ers.
All right. Rob Scott saying McCaffrey's still having health issues as well. I might go with Cincinnati. It's going to be tough. I am going to go with the 49ers getting it win in a close one. Give me San Francisco. I'll go 28, and give me Cincinnati 21. 7-point ball game. All
And
right.
real quick, and I do see where Rob Scott could lean towards Cincy. And I'm telling you, if Debo wasn't playing in this game, if Debo was, I mean, excuse me, if since Debo is out, if Higgins was in this game, I would lean towards the Bengals too, because I think between Boyd, Higgins, and Chase and Mixon, they can make it work. But the fact that Higgins is out takes away one of the guys, which means they're going to double up on Jamar Chase. And it means Tyler Boyd is going to have to play the superstar stud. And I don't know, man. There's a lot.
There's a lot of factors going into this one.
And,
yeah. I'll tell you, we're at our Monday night game now. Raiders, Lions. Jay, I've got about 5 minutes left, so give me your quick thoughts on this one, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Raiders, Lions. I am going to go Lions on this. Both teams are coming off bad losses. I think Detroit's 4-game win streak came to an end versus Baltimore. We know that kind of turned out. Garoppolo is just dog water at 7 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Oh, my God. To Goff's 11-4. Even Montgomery is killing Jacobs in the backfield with 6 touchdowns to 2. And basically getting it at 20 carries less than what Jacobs is doing. So for those reasons, I think the run defense is going to be too much. And, yeah, man, I think the Lions are giving up 76 yards at run defense to the Raiders 129. So the fact that Jacobs will pretty much be a non-factor and the fact that Garoppolo has more interceptions and touchdowns just kind of spells the beans that this Lions is primed for get back on track. So I'm going to go Lions, and I'm going to say 21-7.
21-7. Okay. Frankie, who's taking home this one? You got the Raiders or the Lions?
I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is back or even playing. I don't know if Brian Hoyer is going to start again or what. But don't matter what's going to happen over there. I'm not giving no more full examples. Logan, I'm sorry. Lions all the way.
That hurts. But, yeah, I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is playing. I don't know if it'll make a difference. Just the offense, for whatever reason, just has not been doing much this year. Defense has been mediocre, not been great, not been awful. But with obviously, Jimmy being hurt the past few games, and before then, him not even playing that well, it's been rough sledding. Hopefully, he can get it turned around the second half of the season. Josh Jacobs, he did get re-signed for some money, and he has not lived up to said money. As of yet, just has not been able to get the running game going. You can put that on him as well as the offensive line, which has been just Used to be really good, but now it's just like I said, defense is pretty good. There's not a whole lot of knocks I can put on them at the moment. But yeah, it's rough sledding. As for Detroit,
you gotta give Hunter Renfrow some. What happened to Hunter?
Man, I don't know. It might have just been one of those, 3 solid seasons or whatever, and that's it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Still got Devontae Adams. He's hanging out there though.
Yeah, he's pissed though. He wants out of there.
Yeah, hey, it's fine. As for the Lions, we know they've been struggling here a little bit recently. But overall still having a really good season. Still primed to make the playoffs, which that's still odd for me to say. We know who they've got, obviously, with Montgomery, with Goff, and then you look over at, obviously Hutchinson, your captain on defense, putting in work. And like you said, the Lions are not happy. They're going to try and get their season back on track here with this one. So it's going to be a good game, but ultimately, if I'm being a realist here, I'm going to go with the Lions in this one. I'm going to go Detroit 24 and give me Vegas 17. I'll give them some points. I can't give them 7. I can't give them 7. But like I said, I do got the Lions getting the win. So that has been it, everyone. That's been our NFL Week 8 game predictions once again. And as always, Frankie C, Foxborough Frankie C, about to be Frankie the Yankee here very shortly. And our guy, Jay McLovin, appreciate you coming on talking some NFL football. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Check us out on our social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, formerly Twitter, X, at the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. Like, comment, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And also, once again, shout out to our friends at Northeast Streaming Sports for allowing us to broadcast live on their Roku channel. All right, well, everyone, go home, be safe this weekend, enjoy some football, enjoy some baseball, and also be sure to stay locked in here, Unscripted on the Elite Sports